Peace and blessings, family. Sister Angeline, this morning I just knew I have to thank you, family, who donate to my Patreon account every single month. Oh my goodness, you are such a strength for me. Without you, family, I couldn't do what I do at all. And it is vital, vital work to expose the hell of man-made radiation. So, woo, just a big hug through the screen right to you. Thank you.
How you doing? You doing good? I surely hope so. I had to put that little clip in there at the beginning, which is from a video I did a while ago, because I am always grateful for you and your assistance. So you could donate through my Patreon or through Cash App, $ Radical Sister, or you could go on over where you're going to get yourself some healing luxurious products that Dr. She and I make. It's astounding what we do because this is a critical moment in our history that's off the charts. It requires a different level of service if you have the nerve to love Black us. And that's what we do. So let's get into Lizzo. And first, let me just put this meme up here. I thank the person who put it together. It wasn't me. Uh, the first victim of war is always the truth. That's what they're trying to do, is simply silence what is right in our faces often, but we're so exhausted by these devils that we prefer to try to ignore it. And then they just pummel us with so much crap that it's hard to put it all together so that it stays in focus. And they scrub the web so that sometimes you'll remember something and then you'll go to look for it and you're like, wow, whatever happened to that? I'm just saying, we have to fight nonetheless, because that's what you do to protect your children. So in sharing the truth that I'm going to, I mean nobody any harm, and I mean no one any insult. I admit I am partial to disliking Lizzo simply because of all the just female doggish things that she's done, that her dancers reported on, and her general attitude where she'd get up on stage and, these are, at least, she's more covered, but she'll have this stage gear that's just, I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to wear it. Of course, she could wear whatever she wants to wear, but it's simply that she's being hypocritical. If at this, trying to so proudly portray herself as, I'm gorgeous, I'm sexy, I know you want me, because that's what that whole look is about. That's what I've noticed with people who have this arrogant look about them when they're doing stuff, that really, that is simply the child within them trying to garner some self-esteem so that they will look as if they're the it when they really don't feel like it. And I mean, I I feel for probably how much uh, harassment that Lizzo has endured. She's put herself out there. It's not as if she's, somebody just like saw her on the street one day and we're like, we need to make you famous so we can make fun of you. No, she works tirelessly. She works successfully. She has a good voice to achieve the fame that she does, but her appetites, her gluttony, and when you are going into hella weird or the music industry, they pick you because you're vulnerable. They have so many little gadgets in the studios to make the worst sounding person, worst sounding troll, seem as if they're amazing vocalists. And so they have a larger pool of truly just skeevy people to choose from. And then they propel them upwards so that they're all just a bunch of celebrities. That's what they wind up being. We were listening to Sarah Vaughan this morning, Dr. She and I, and oh my goodness, the way her tonality, her range of vocals is just, it was amazing. They don't have folks like that out there anymore because then their pool of candidates is far smaller. But they've through using technology to improve voices, they've managed to broadcast through the airstream all kinds of vile guidance, so that they've got a generation that grew up listening to satanic doctrine and they've believed it. And so you wind up with someone like a Lizzo who was full of crap. That's the whole thing is like if she stayed fat and she were going to get up there and say, no, I'm not for the Ozempic, right? Then I would have gained respect for her. I'm always ready to forgive anybody for anything, right? Not anything. No. Okay, there's certain people who I'm just like, nah, I ain't gonna work ever. But the rumor is, I'm not accusing her of using Ozempic directly, but someone like that, just the appetites have no humility whatsoever. And in speaking about this, I'm speaking from experience. No, I was never as big as Lizzo, but what does it matter? Look how I'm huge here. And I was happy though. That's why I also want to just emphasize in here, most fat Black women are not Lizzo. I very rarely run across anybody who would just be as catty and underhanded as Lizzo. We're usually just warm and wonderful people. We just got caught up in the food addiction. Oh my goodness, them cravings are no joke. Even when I do shares like this where I'm going over weight, I have to be careful because I could get done with the share and get up and suddenly having talked about cravings starts my cravings. And then I have to, usually I don't manage to overcome them and I'll wind up eating something. But this one here, I want to manage not to because I've been doing so phenomenally that I don't want to stop that, because just the journey, the lifetime journey. I'm not recommending a whole journey for you. If you're young, start young, but don't start with the Ozempic. And I'm going to go over that in detail, right? But that journey to overcoming my cravings through all of these just different methods that I tried and accomplished. This is a photo from, I don't know what, like 5 years ago. I'm still the same way. Let me stand up. Yeah, same dress. My hair's grayer, so you know time has passed. I'm just saying it's actually even looser now than it was back then. So when people accomplished just one of the most difficult burdens that we have, which is overcoming the purposeful, like chemicalizing of the food so that you've got neurotoxins in there, excitotoxins, that's what they call it, is things that will get your neurons just firing at an explosive rate with pleasure. Oh my goodness gracious. And you have to eat all the time. That is one hell of a thing. So I am not here to put down overweight people as if I've been like this all my life. No, I haven't. And I'm just telling you because I know that Ozempic is going to be a siren call to so many of us who are just as hypocritical as Lizzo, just a lot nicer. Don't heed that call. Don't go for that call. Okay? Go for the one where the Most High told you don't be eating on that king's food. And yeah, don't be going to our open enemy, our avowed enemy for anything, because they are such liars. I mean, I watched the whole statin drug thing get out there where they were recommending statin in order to prevent heart attacks. But the problem is that when you take these suckers, they interfere with your body's natural system. So your heart doesn't get the actual nutrients that it needs to function well. It gets back to what can't be ignored. You have to watch what you're eating. So here's Lizzo showing a dramatic weight loss. There she is with the, wine glass, showcasing it off. This is something Negropeans do on a constant. When drinking the wine isn't helping you, and it also is screaming loud with the duck lips and all the rest of it, you haven't changed emotionally. You've just gotten something that is going to give you a feeling, a sense that you've arrived, because you are such a materialist, you are such a hedonist, you are such a glutton, that you're not curing any of that, obviously. And so I'm, just the headlines. Poison centers see 1,500% increase in overdoses involving weight loss drugs like Ozempic, including men who took 10 times the safe dose. There's a lot of people out here who are screaming for some sort of solution. I remember when I first started working out and I didn't know how to eat well back then, but still, if you get the muscles together, it'll hold stuff in. And his brother came up to me. He's like, how do I, because I was really ripping the muscles up. And brother said, how do I get that kind of muscle definition that you've got? And I looked at him and said, well, I work out. And, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no. Is this some kind of pill? I was like, wow, what? No, ain't no pill for this. Back then there wasn't. I wonder if when it comes to this weight loss thing, if they don't know that it is hazardous, very hazardous already. Here's a report coming from the Mayo Clinic, and this is just one of the things they say, right? And they were trying to be positive about the whole thing. But I look at how all the whole COVID thing was an absolute catastrophe. I bet you the elites, that's why they had to build that big old statue, why they kind of been lowbrow threatening lots of people, because they're in trouble. The Western medical establishment has lost massive credibility. And so these drugs also aren't recommended if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia. Animal studies have linked these drugs with thyroid tumors. But until more long-term studies are done, the risk to humans isn't known. Therefore, you should work closely with your healthcare provider to carefully evaluate the risks and benefits for using semaglutide, that's the stuff that's in the Ozempic and Wegovy, right? And monitor for any serious or long-term symptoms to ensure the safe and effective use of semaglutide. This is a bunch of bull crap right here. They want that money, right? They got all them pharmaceutical people coming in there. There's still places where you can go and get statins. They're not going to stop selling it, right? The breast cancer, not the thermography. I meant to say the mammograms, but this is the National Library of Medicine. Mammography screening is harmful and should be abandoned, but they're still out there recommending it to women, and it's radiation. It causes cancer. That's the one. If you got to get it, go get the thermography. But there's ways that you don't have to get cancer. I'm just saying, okay? And I will put it in my book, Furnace of Affliction, Healing Radiation Damage to the Human Body. All right, get that book. You can go to Amazon if you want to spend $50. Some people do. Lizzo could afford it. Or you just go to 25,000yearcycle.org and you get the physical book for, I do believe, 35, and you can get the ebook for 25. And I put all the cures in there. You can read the reviews on Amazon, but there's one review where the person's like, oh, you could just get this off the internet. No, you can't. They're scrubbing everything off. And it took me 10 years to find all that data. You don't even know what you're looking for. I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should, but you should avail yourself of a resource that's already the best on the planet. Non-par, it's a fact. And I've shared books about radiation from all sorts of other people. Massive respect to them. I'm just saying, I sat back and I read the book so that I could put it all together in an easy text for all of us to be able to avail ourselves of and be healthier. So these folks, they aren't going to tell you anything over their need for profit. So they're not going to tell you about all these side effects, and they're going to have stuff that makes it look like, oh no, it's wonderful, and we're going to go over the history of making things that are bad for people look wonderful, right? I am a doctor who lost 25 pounds on Ozempic. The drug left me mildly depressed and totally wiped out by 8 p.m. You would think that then the guy could say, well, I lost 25 pounds. Well, I could be finished now. But no, once you go on this stuff, like with the statin, it's going in your body and it's blasting stuff out. Your body has a genetically calculated balance that goes beyond your circadian rhythm. It knows what it needs to do to keep you alive. And so you go in there and this semaglutide interferes with your natural digestion problem. It keeps you from digesting at the rate that your body normally would even. So I think that's why some people wind up with all kinds of gastric issues, because you got food up there rotting in places that aren't prepared to deal with food rotting inside your friggin' stomach. Right? Maybe the big, large intestine can handle just fecal matter that's been built up in there for the last 10 years, but your stomach ain't ready to deal with that sort of stuff. And so it's going to have issues. So patients on Ozempic or Wegovy eat more calories after stopping medication than they did prior to taking drug, survey finds. I don't have that problem. I go for my runs. And when I get back, I am in such a phenomenally good mood. Oh my God, that lasts all day long. That is one of my greatest appetite controls, is exercise. And I didn't start out running like I do. I built up slowly over time. When I first started, I was amazed that I could get to the point where I could run 20 minutes steady, right? Now I could run an hour and a half steady. And I even go faster since I really narrowed down foods that are bad for me. You could go right to our website and there's a food list right there. Foods that are bad for me and foods that are good for me. Once I got rid of the carbohydrates altogether, the sugars, the starches, not the starch because I eat potato, but I won't eat bread. Right? Once I did that sort of stuff, my legs are free. Oh my goodness, I'm like a 25-year-old now. So I'm just saying, there's ways. Allah makes it so that when you do life abundant strategies, you get more life. Okay? But this stuff right here, they ain't gonna tell you this, right? Because in the Daily Mail, they also have articles where I guess they just get paid advertisement. They'll have articles in there where I took Ozempic and suddenly I feel so phenomenal. It's because they're making money. Everybody making money. Let's go back to that meme, right? Deep state doesn't have to be some bunch of pedophiles up on the dark web. the deep state or any of these people who make money from dysfunction in all of us. And so they don't want, the medical industry doesn't want to collapse. There's a whole bunch of folks out there like, oh my goodness, we need something. We need something. Can we release Ozempic on the people? I'm just saying. 1 in 5 hospital deaths in U.S. are a result of doctor errors. I've been talking about iatrogenics for years. I don't think they even mention that word in this article because most people aren't going to study like that to that level. I'm not mad at them. I didn't have until I realized that these dudes are trying to kill us. I didn't study like that. There's something in me. Allah put that in me where I'm just like, oh, hell no. No, you ain't going to do this. Not to me, my family. And that means you and your family because my family ain't nothing without yours being strong. I ain't dumb. Right? But yeah, like, oh, there they go. They've been lying, steady lying about the colorectal cancer. They've been changing all the maps to make it look like, oh, there's nothing going on the West Coast. Don't listen to that radical sister. She's scary. No, but this ain't scary over here. It causes friggin' thyroid tumors. Ozempic, stop. And these people, I mean, all of us, they're like, we're going to use all of you like guinea pigs, and we don't even have to tell you this time around. FDA's new rule allows for medical research without informed consent. These are the same dudes who are now allowing all radioactive food in from Fukushima, and that would be then everywhere with this rule out here, right? Because it was a specific edict that said, no, we can't take no more Japanese Fukushima food. But now, whatever, we want to see just how fast, how radioactive they have to be before they all just drop dead. And that reminds me, oh my God, I wouldn't talk about this except in this share about Lizzo, except that this is what this Negropean ignorance winds up doing for us, where our loved ones are being taken away from us in epic numbers at all kinds of ages. And this sister right here, I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name, Babiso Sikwane, she died, she only 50 years old. And that's her former husband, DJ Fresh. They were from South Africa. He's still alive, thank God, because they had children. He said what a lot of us are going to be saying, it doesn't make sense. We are told it could have been a cardiac event, but what could have caused it hasn't been ascertained. Woo! How many people died while they were doing these studies about the statin drugs? And they knew all along. Just like with the Wegovy and the Ozempic, they ain't going to say a gosh dang thing. It makes so little sense that they're putting cardiac defibrillators in schools for the children. Radiation causes heart attacks, right? I got it in this book right here, The Crime of Chernobyl, which I have mentioned once. As soon as I mentioned it, someone went on over to the Amazon site and deliberately put in, I think, like a 2-star rating. They didn't say anything, so you can't tell if they bought the book or not. They probably didn't. But I'm just saying, this was written by cardiologists who studied the children of Chernobyl and the grown folk too. They were dying not just of cancer, heart attacks too, causes everything, causes thyroid tumors also. I just want to roll through the stupid stuff that Western civilization will promote. And they know, they'll know. There'll be plenty of them who know it. Don't do that. How mother and baby picked up a case of Blott's beer in your home means much to the young mother. And obviously, baby participates in its benefits. Getting mommy's milk, oh my goodness. The malt in the beer supplies nourishing qualities that are essential at this time. And the hops act as an appetizing, stimulating tonic. So they're taking advantage of the fact that, I'm sorry, I just have an observation that white women have a hard time being mothers. I'm not saying all of them do, but a lot of them, the postpartum depression. Then they start talking us into it because we've been Negropeanized into a mindset of materialism. And so you just can't make that much money. If we're going to have a black human race, then we have to acknowledge that motherhood is going to make you dependent. There's nothing wrong with that if you've chosen well, if you didn't succumb to your immediate impulses who want to be with the dude who's as mindless as a freaking Lamborghini he drives. I'm just saying, these people are not the ones to get health advice from. What? Right? The best things in life come in cellophane. I guess they were trying to sell this to the hospitals and all the rest of it, but this is like, whoa, bad, bad, bad. And then, oh, DDT is good for me. Oh, I had to scroll and get all the pictures that they have of children being sprayed by DDT. It was like a health thing for them. And nobody questioned it. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to stay financially restricted. No, I don't, because I want to test our food. I haven't given up on that definitive ambition because I'm eating the same food you're eating. All right. So I want to test our food for radiation. I can't do that without capital. Because these people, they're out their goddamn minds. Why are all the ones who do have money not testing the food? When they test the food, they always just, oh, the honey, it has radiation from the atomic bomb test of the 1950s. So that it make it sound as if it's no big deal. All the way back then, don't you worry your little fluffy head about it. We're going to make all kinds of stuff to make you think radiation is cool. I'm going to show you that too, okay? But I'm just saying, Fukushima, FDA, so no, we can experiment with you any goddamn way we feel like it. We need to be able to protect ourselves. We need to fortify our defense systems. And as a person who has the knowledge gained through over a decade of daily research, I never stop, right? Support me in getting our food tested. But yeah, sometimes it's not so bad to be financially restricted, because I think as a young woman in the grip of my eating disorder, that Ozempic came along, how the heck would I say no to that? Well, not having any money, because that stuff is expensive. My mom didn't do this. My mom wasn't a brilliant person or anything, but then they tended to be smarter back in those days. They knew something wrong with these people, okay? And so they didn't go to a lot of things that the white people would do. Like, God dang, look at that. That's crazy. Just, spraying folks up with the DDT. It was healthy as far as they're concerned. They don't do any long-term studies to find out. No, this is going to impact your baby's ability to even be gestated in a healthy fashion. Well, DDT, the radiation is worse. The Rachel Carson, who wrote Silent Spring, and she had even said that the radiation, that's the top of the list. It's just that they hid that portion of what she taught, and they just focus on the DDT because the radiation, that's their favorite genocidal weapon. And so going back to this beautiful sister and her husband, who was her husband, the reason why I'm making note of this, because there's so many who are passing right now. It's just off the charts. So we're all going to be like her husband, saying it just doesn't make sense. Because I've noted that they're shipping Fukushima rice to Africa, and they're donating it. So I'm just, how many Africans, all it takes is one atom, is swallowing a whole x-ray machine and leaving it on 24/7. You never turn it off, and that's just one atom. You give more than one atom. You give more than one atom if you're eating Fukushima rice, okay? So, and they will put it in food all over Africa. So these dudes, they're going to sing straight through the hell. They're not going to say a word. Kids need the energy candy gives. Here's why smart mothers buy candy in cellophane. Wow, that's 2 in 1, right? For young or old, candy provides quick energy. Buy some next time you shop. Candy is delicious energy food. Enjoy. What does that say? Some every day. That's crazy, and they'll believe it. Right? Vitamin donuts for pep and vigor. New way to get more from vitamins with the Ovaltine. Come on now, all right? 7 Up. This is crazy. Fresh up with 7 Up. Give it to the baby. Forget the bottle. Forget the breast. Just give them 7 Up. I'm just saying that these people, the one thing they're not discussing is Fukushima fallout. I could get real deep into all of the current stats happening with Fukushima, but I just want to show you the history of their mindlessness and that they even at one time tried to sell radiation. That's how bad it is because the word got out that is bad. But they tried to sell radiation as a good thing, right? Because of the Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombings that freaked everybody out. And so they had to, they were offering stuff so that they could build their own fallout shelters. And literally, people would build bunkers in their backyards. And they had like the preppers right now, where they had all of these gadgets and gizmos and all the rest of it. And folks are making money off of it. As long as they're making money, they're really good. But once people kind of were like, okay, are we being paranoid right now? Because remember, it's not the nuclear bomb that gets you, it's the radiation. One reactor, and this is an underestimation, by the way, one reactor is the equivalent of having 1,000 nuclear bombs exploded in whatever vicinity that nuclear reactor is located at. And they say within a 50-mile radius. Radiation doesn't stand still. These guys have to vent all that radiation on a constant basis. Otherwise, them suckers would blow up. So then they went to, it was the peaceful atom strategy, where they tried to present nuclear as if it was a good thing. That's when they peddled, finding different scientific medical applications for it. And they even would use the word atomic in different products, atomic dish detergent. This product actually still exists. I looked it up. It's just that, they changed the logo and they still call it atomic. And make your own nuclear bomb at home. So easy and fun. Only $99. Good Lord. Witness the power of the atomic bomb. This was a tour. A tour. Take a bus to the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada to see American military science at its finest. Viewers shall be placed in a tower safe from harm's way as American scientists produce an atomic explosion from a safe distance. Location, Nye County, 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. This is for real. They charge people $3 to die, right? And they wish with the Oppenheimer movie, this is what they want everybody to be like again. Oh my God, they're so powerful. They're so brilliant. This was Professor John Goffman. I've got a couple of his books. I think I even read one. But dude said there is no way. And he worked, by the way, he was one of the top scientists working on the nuclear bomb. So there is no way I can justify my failure to help sound an alarm over these activities many years sooner than I did. I feel that at least several scientists trained in the biomedical aspects of atomic energy, myself definitely included, are candidates for a Nuremberg-like trial for crimes against humanity through our gross negligence and irresponsibility. Now that we know the hazards of low-level radiation, the crime is no experimentation, it's murder, right? So, yeah, go get the book. But my point is, nothing about these people have changed. They've just driven us completely out of our minds. And so that we have a false arrogance about achieving what they've told us is successful. And we know, otherwise we wouldn't have that arrogance, that it's not successful. That's why there's this disquieting increase in depression, but I don't think it's as big an increase as they purport it to be. I think it's more so that the more we integrate with these folks, the more that we are convinced they're the smartest people on the planet. But no, they're not. Let's keep going over all the stuff. They had like everything atomic toys because they wanted to normalize the concept, just like they got the goat all over the place. I know people say, but it means the greatest of all time. It's a goat. Why do they have to bring a goat out? And don't say that, because that was actually braggadocious on Muhammad Ali's part also. Not that they liked him. They really didn't like him. And he was a brilliant brother. But I'm just saying, at the end, he's like, oh, I got Irish in my family. I'm heading over Ireland to meet my ancestors. You don't want to meet anybody who was in a habit of raping your ancestors early on, and they really haven't changed, okay? I'm just saying. So with all these atomic toys that they had out there, they also had this one where this was a radioactive ring that had polonium in it. Polonium is a particularly awful radionuclide that Madame Curie is one of the ones she used to walk around with in her pocket, along with the radium that she wore around her neck. And the polonium tore her hip to pieces. Tore her hip to pieces. And they put it in a ring. This is after Madame Curie died. And they knew it was a radiation because they gave her a gift. She came to the US one time towards the end of her life, and they gave her a gift of radium, and they put it in a lead-lined box. They knew. But this thing right here, it's just a ring that you got for sending in the little label off of a Kix cereal box, and it was awesome. You opened it up in a dark room, and then you would see little sparks coming, atomic decay inside the ring. So these people knew, and they were giving this to their children. Why? Because it was profitable. It's still profitable to them. This is a museum about radiation. And there's bunches of them around the country, but you don't ever hear about them. And they surely aren't in any Black neighborhoods. They don't want us thinking about this stuff, definitely, okay? But yeah, this is a collector's item. You get bank if you happen to have one of these old kickboxes. And goodness forbids, if you have the actual ring, right? Polonium has a short half-life, so there wouldn't be any more radioactive material within it. But if you happen to have that ring, oh my goodness, I didn't look at the price because that's not my interest. My interest is you, saving you. But yeah, it's bank. This was a chemistry set that I had. I didn't have this version. This was the 1940s version. It was the U-238 version. It actually had uranium in it. And this was from the 1940s. The radium girls were going on. So they knew this stuff wasn't just regular. You don't give it to children, but that's what they did and kept doing. And of course, I mean, come on, smoking, like they used to get doctors who, oh, this is going to make you even healthier. Physicians say Luckies are less irritating, fresh, a health cigar. Oh my God, really? You didn't hear people coughing? It doesn't take long for them to start cacking up this stuff out their lungs. So I love this quote. I love this quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We dig our graves with our teeth. Good Lord, that's exactly what they got us doing. So we are so desperate. They're not going to tell you. If you're waiting for the media to say Ozempic is bad for you, don't do it. There's a better way. It's, we have this hope that life will have no hurdles whatsoever. And that's a beautiful thing, to have a life without too many troubles. But it's through that hardship, you grow stronger character. You learn just how amazing you are, and that he fashioned you to handle exactly what you're facing. Me too, and I complain bunches, but I'm the only one talking about radiation. You know, I stopped it a little bit, like I'm better not doing that. But I'm just saying, sooner or later, the new news about how awful this Ozempic is. I'm not saying she's taking Ozempic specifically or whatever. I'm just saying her character doesn't scream out, oh, I'm a person who's gonna, be capable of facing life's hardships, right? But yeah, we're going to be hearing some awful tales in about 10 to 20 years. Do you have that much time to just throw caution to the wind and give it to folks who've been out of their minds since they came out the caves? Right? I'm just saying, I've been wanting to put a warning out about this Ozempic because I know a lot of us are going to succumb to it because we don't like you don't like being fat, right? Some of us, we kind of deal with it and we're, okay, this is who I am or whatever, but no, that's not. You're not eating the food that great grandma ate. And as you're eating massive quantities of foods that are keeping you in that state, you're also going to be taking in mass quantities of radiation, and it's going to get sequestered in all that inflammatory, fatty tissue. That is really dangerous, really dangerous. Okay, I'm just saying. So you're gonna love the powerful you that you get to know step by step. You don't have to come out just triumphant on every single level. You could call and speak to Dr. She, and if you insist, I'll talk to if you want, even though I'm really, really shy, okay? But if you need some just guidance, I don't know how long, because I'm not keeping track of how many years I've just been this size. And it's glorious. It's glorious, right? But I'm just saying, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. And you don't have to either. You were made to be your rescue. Straight Black Pride is our ownership papers to forever. Love you. Peace and blessings. Also died on the same exact day. So this article is like, what the heck? Two died one day. This is Africans are in my file. That list is long.